Episode 7 of What If has debuted on Disney+. That means we've only got 2 episodes left, so let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comments section. Share your thoughts on Episode 7 of What If. This is a spoiler review, so feel free to spoil away down below in the comments section, and you don't need to put a warning. You've already been warned in the title of this video. With that said, let's get started. And let's just get right to it. This is easily my least favorite episode of the show thus far, and the concept that interested me the least. It's not that I hated it. It's not that I wouldn't mind rewatching it. In fact, whenever my kids get home from school today, we'll probably put it on immediately and I'll watch it a second time. But of all the what if scenarios that you could possibly do with the concept of this show, I don't know why you would pick this specific concept. And then what they did with it didn't seem as clever as the other episodes up to this point in time. And so it just kind of turns into this party story, which it's lighthearted. I know they wanted to do something different, and some of them are really heavy, some of them are really dark, and then you have episodes like this that are just meant to be like a fun comedy, but I didn't find it funny enough. It's not an adventure that I particularly wanted to go on. Even if you want to do kind of this like, hey, let's just have some fun, there's other journeys you could have taken them on. As soon as you go, what if, and you can do whatever you want, just Thor throwing a party on Earth and S.H.I.E.L.D. being like, I don't think this guy should be here, and calling Captain Marvel, and then at the end they're like, let's call his mom, and so he has to clean up. It's just not a particularly compelling plot line to me. There's just not much to that that's like, yeah, you know, because like they were messing, Suitor was messing with the Statue of Liberty, and then at the end, Thor accidentally like corrected the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is actually a bit that was in Superman 3 previously. It's been done in many other things before this. So it's just kind of like, it didn't feel like there was a lot of width to it. Whereas a bunch of these episodes, it feels like they found a clever way to take us 1, 2, 3 MCU movies, put a twist on them, and layer them in interesting ways with twists and turns all throughout. This was just kind of a classic party story of person throws a party, things get out of hand, and then they have to rush to clean things up before their parent gets there. Like, okay, you did that. We now have that in the MCU. Some parts put a smile on my face. Some parts made me chuckle. It's interesting to see Loki in his true form, just embracing his true self, but still being buddies with Thor. That's kind of fun. But just nothing of consequence, nothing all that just interesting to me happened, because it was just supposed to be a party episode. And the part where there's some things in there that I think could have potentially led to some interesting explorations, which is to say, if you look at who's on Earth in this, in the timeline that we know of the rest of the MCU, of assuming this lines up with the original Thor movie, that Nebula is showing up, and some of these other characters, that they're there on this planet at the Thor party, would indicate that other things in the universe has changed because of what Thor did. By implication, there are ramifications for the rest of the universe, this trickle-down effect of what happened to him, and therefore Nebula's a party animal. She's not out trying to kill her sister and doing Thanos' bidding. There's several like these trickle-down ideas. Drax is their party, that means something interesting, and none of that's explored. And the only point in time where we get to the, like, what's the trickle down that's like, ooh, what does that mean, is when you get to the final reveal of, like, hey, we had a party, that was nice. And then it's revealed the trickle down of all of this is that Ultron Vision with a bunch of Infinity Stones shows up. That's pretty fun. That's interesting. That would have been a nice mid-story twist of like, hey, we're just having fun, it's no big deal. And then surprise, he shows up, and then the second half is like Thor having to discover his inner hero. But instead it was like, oh man, my mom's gonna be mad at me, I better clean up the party. And then our cliffhanger is the tease of Vision. So, I don't know, and maybe that's next week, it's a 2-part one, and so then they just did a lot of time showing us how he's a party animal, and then we actually are going to get the second part with him joining the Avengers or something like that. Maybe that'll happen, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like they did anything enough with it to earn an episode. When you've got such a broad landscape of you can do whatever you want in the world of the MCU, and we're just changing some detail. Season 1, we're going with 9 episodes. Thor throwing a party on Earth and Captain Marvel being the party pooper just would not even be in my top 100 ideas that I would want to go with. And so it just felt to me like a total wasted episode. Like, you know, they're still having fun with writing. It's not that they got totally unprofessional, but they just didn't do anything interesting with it. And you think the guy that wrote this episode, the last episode he wrote was the Doctor Strange episode. It feels like we're like on polar opposites here of like, let's go super dark and then let's go super lighthearted. Let's go really clever and dig deep on some interesting ideas, and then let's just do a party movie with Thor. So I'm kind of repeating myself at this point in time because I just feel like there's much to even say about it. There wasn't much to be explored because it's just such super surface level fun. You don't learn anything new about the characters. You don't dive in deep on anything. It's just a party episode. That's very disappointing to me, and I wish that's not the direction that they'd gone with things, or found something interesting, clever, a twist, a turn that really took it on its head and gave some weight, some importance, something to it, and they just didn't do that. So it's interesting. We're now almost at the end of the season, and it feels like we've got some episodes that I just thought were great, some I thought were really interesting, some that I thought were kind of like, there's a lot of good stuff in there, but maybe a little bit rushed or some missteps, but solid episodes. And I think we've only got like, I think this is the only one that it was really kind of a dud to me. And then some other ones, even on kind of the lower end, I still really enjoyed them. This is the only one I thought really is a dud up to this point in time. Let me know what you thought down below. Maybe you're the big fan of this one. I don't know. I'm guessing a lot of the internet might be disappointed by this one. That's just my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know down below where you feel on this one, how you're taking it. Did you also feel like, that was a weird filler episode that didn't add much or explore anything that was fascinating to me? Let me know down below. Check out my other videos right over here, and keep talking movies too much.